Kia ora anō. We will get started. Nau mai hara mai koutou. Welcome to our Rito Hou kia ora webinar for Sorted Money Month. We are so pleased to have you join us tonight. It's not an easy time to come to webinar, so we're really thankful and grateful for those who have attended. The webinar, how we're going to go tonight, we're going to take your questions and answers using the chat function and the Q&A panel that you'll see on the in front of you. When you drop down to write a comment, just make sure that you select panelists and attendees, so that ensures that we can all see the conversation. So kia ora tātou, ko waio, ko Donna Robinson tōku ingoa, ko taupiri te maunga, ko wakato te awa, ko tainui te waka, ko wakato tainui te iwi, ko Ngāti Tamaoho me Ngāti Koheriki ngā hapu, ko mangatangi te marae, ko waikarakia tōku tūranga waiwai. I am Donna Robinson and I'm one of the team at Sorted, and we are so glad to have you here and join us with our webinar. We've also got a couple of other team members here I'd like to introduce you to right now. We've got Marina here who's here, she's going to wave, and we've got Erin. I'm just going to hand it over to them as it's tika and to just briefly introduce themselves, and we'll also hear from Kimmy later. I'll give her an opportunity to also introduce herself. Kia ora, Marina.
Kia ora tātou, ko Marina tōku ingoa, he Rito Hou no Tauranga Moana. Kia ora everybody, my name is Marina. I am from Tauranga Moana, and I am one of the team from Te Whaihua Kia Ora, Sorted in Schools. Mahi.
Kia ngara atu koutou, ngā mihi o te ahi au pō kia koutou katoa. He Rito Hou no Ngāti Tipa, no Ngāti Rangiuhi, no Ngai Tāmanuhiri hoki. Ka noho mai au ki Rotorua, ko tētahi o ngā mōkai a peke haua e mihi atu nei kia koutou, ko Erin Thompson tōku ingoa. Again, Erin Thompson is my name, and I'm one of the mokopuna of peke haua from the mighty Awahau. Also, whakapapa to Ngāti Tipa, Ngāti Rangiuhi, Ngai Tāmanuri hiri hoki. Tēnā rawa atu koutou.
Kia ora e te whānau, he Rito Hou no Ngāti Rangiuhi, no Ngai Tāmanuhiri, no Ngāti Tipa, no Ngāti Kahungunu ki Wairarapa anō hoki. Kaire kore kua rongo i ngā orititanga o taku whakapapa ki tērā o taku whaia Erin, he ira mutu au āna. Ko Kimi Orangi tōku ingoa. Kia ora everyone, I'm Kimi Orangi. From Ngāti Rangiuhi, Ngai Tāmanuhiri, Ngāti Tipa and Ngāti Kahungunu, and you would have heard the similarities between mine and Auntie Erin's whakapapa, our pepeha. I'm one of her iramutu, one of her nieces. I work with Marina and Te Whaihua Kia Ora, Sorted in Schools. Tēnā koutou.
Kia ora koutou. You'll hear a little bit from each of them throughout the evening, and Kimmy will come along later on in the session and share a little bit about what she does. So let's kick off. Well, what we'll start with tonight is our karakia. Kia hihiri tātou, tuia i runga, tuia i raro, tuia i roto, tuia i waho, tuia ki te ara ahunga ora, kia whaihua kia ora, haumie, huie, tai kie. Ka pai. So, what we're going to start off with is ko waikoe. Who are you? We'd love to hear from you right now. So please use the chat function to tell us your name and where you live. We're so excited to have you join us tonight. So write down, we'd love to hear, learn about where you're from and where you are right now. Who are we? Ko wai mātou. This webinar is proudly brought to you by Te Ara Ahunga Ora Retirement Commission, the driving force behind Sorted. Many of you might already be familiar with the sorted.org.nz website, which offers independent, impartial and free information for everyone in Aotearoa. In this session, we'll also be highlighting some valuable resources we provide for schools in kura. These include our Sorted in Schools designed for English medium education and Te Whaihua Kia Ora, a fully immersion te reo Māori resource tailored for our kura and kura kaupapa. This is the cover page for our Sorted website, sorted.org.nz. It's a great place to have a tutu and a great place to start if you've never thought about how to start thinking and planning your pūtea. So let's get started. The first thing we're going to start with is a bit of a poll. We're really keen to know, have you used the Sorted website before? Have you ever used any of the Sorted tools? So we're going to pop open a poll very shortly. One of our team is going to pop the poll in. And the question is, very simply, have you used the Sorted website before to help you with your personal finances? So you're going to pop in, yes, no, it's my go-to. So you can see some responses coming up already. That's fantastic. Thank you. A lot of yeses, which is really good to hear. Some of you are already familiar with our resources and how they're used. Power play. Awesome. So it looks like we have 67 of us, 67% of us, some of you still answering. About 67% of us have yes, definitely used it. About 20% no, which is great because hopefully you're going to learn some things tonight to help you feel more confident using our website, and it's my go-to. So wherever you are in your journey with Sorted or using tools to help you on your financial journey, hopefully you get something out of tonight that will be useful to you. Okay. The next part we're going to go into, so now we're quite interactive right at the front tonight, is what is your favorite thing about the Sorted site? So write in the chat box and I'll ask Erin to pick out a couple of comments in there. What's your favorite thing about the Sorted site? Is it the budgeting tool? Is it the KiwiSaver Finder? We're really keen as a team to find out what really floats your boat when it comes to the things, the resources that we provide. So write those into the chat box and we'll see what you've got to say, and Erin can choose out a couple and share them.
So there's a couple of things coming through right now, and people really enjoy our videos and webinars, which is great because we like to connect as much as we can with our audience. The money spending personality quiz is quite an insight for all of us. And of course, using our valuable budgeting tools and the different range of tools that we have across Sorted. It's great to see that people get to move around our website in that way.
It's really encouraging to hear that a lot of folk are not only familiar with the tools, but actually know how to use them. So there's a lot of wonderful tools that you may not have discovered on the website. We're going to cover a few of those today. We are consistently trying to improve the tools, so and we're taking feedback from all of you to help to improve those tools. So you might learn something new, but we always welcome your feedback and keen to hear how we can improve it. We're going to I want to take a moment to explain this whakatauki. So Rito Hou is actually one of the programs that we offer here at Te Ara Ahunga Ora, and it sits within our Sorted programs. And this program was specifically written for our Māori whānau, and this is the whakatauki that we chose for that particular program and which we decided to use for this webinar tonight. So let me explain a little bit about this whakatauki and how we arrived at using this. So this whakatauki, whaia te kete mātauranga hei oranga mō koutou. So this whakatauki translates to fill the baskets of knowledge and seek after learning for the sake of your well-being. It's a call to action for us to continuously seek knowledge and wisdom, not just for the sake of gaining information, but for our holistic well-being, mind, body and spirit. In the image, you will see 3 kete or woven baskets, each symbolizing different types of knowledge. These kete are deeply significant in Māori culture, representing the baskets of knowledge that Tāne, the god of forest and birds, brought down from the heavens. Each kete holds a different kind of knowledge. Te kete aronui, knowledge that helps people. Te kete tuari, knowledge of the spiritual world. And te kete tuatia, knowledge of everyday practical world. Together, these kete remind us that learning is not just a means to an end, but a journey that enriches every aspect of our lives. The act of filling these baskets is about nurturing our growth, our relationships, and our ability to contribute positively to our whānau and communities. This journey of acquiring knowledge is lifelong and is essential to our well-being. By engaging with this concept, we are reminded that the pursuit of knowledge is a sacred duty, one that is deeply rooted in our cultural identity and vital for our future. Let's strive to all fill our kete with knowledge that uplifts and sustains us. And we hope that this webinar tonight provides that opportunity to hopefully give you some more skills, some more knowledge around personal financial well-being. So how will tonight work? There will be 3 ways for you to engage with us in this webinar. Number 1, we will have some polls that will pop up throughout getting your ideas and feelings on things. We've already done one, we've already uncovered one. Number 2, you will have opportunities to share that in the chat. And number 3, if you have any questions within or outside of one of our Q&A sessions, put that in the Q&A box on your Zoom bar below. If someone has already asked one similar, feel free to boost their questions instead of writing out again. We've got a team working behind the scenes, doing their best to make sure no questions are missed. So we will also be sharing lots of tips and tricks for you along the way, but we'll also be referring to, number 1, tools that are available on the Sorted website, 2, guides on the site to support different topics or needs around money. And number 3, there will also be some videos, all of which, including this, will also be available at sorted.org.nz. If there is anything further that you want to know, that you're curious about, pop those into the chat, put them into the Q&A, and our team behind the scenes will help as much as they can. So, our first partai for the evening. What does your financial legacy look like? Let us help you do the maths. What we want to do right now is understand, what does your financial legacy look like? What are some of the things that you have learned growing up or have been taught by your tupuna or by others that have led you to the place where you are when it comes to money? So I want you to drop these into the chat and give us some words or some feelings about what does your financial legacy look like. And we'll take a moment and we'll have a share of those comments. So what does your financial legacy look like? While we're waiting, we might ask Erin, what do you think your financial legacy looks like, Erin?
My financial legacy is feeling comfortable that my mokopuna can grow up understanding, what is a sustainable lifestyle for us as living intergenerationally, and how can they protect and preserve that for their future generations.
Oh, ka pai, Erin, that's a great one. One of the legacy that I think I'd like to leave behind is sharing the importance of an emergency fund. Growing up without not having a lot of knowledge about what that meant and how important that was, once I discovered it, it's something that I've passed on to my children. And now, gratefully, they've learned and they have a little bit extra for those unexpected emergencies. So it's a really cool, for me, a nice part of my financial legacy. Do we have a couple of comments in the chat box that we want to share, team?
Yes, we do. I see people are interested in building investment portfolios and, ensuring that there's financial freedom, that their future pepe don't have to worry about money. So creating that sustainable financial stability and having well-being and security for their whānau, and sharing that knowledge, and also to have financial self-reliance, about that mana motuhake.
Wonderful, wonderful. It's really interesting to hear that a lot of us, particularly being Māori, is that our financial legacy often involves other people, and particularly our future generation or our posterity. So if the more we can learn while we're here gaining this knowledge and pass on to those for our mokopuna and our tamariki, the more informed they'll be, and they'll make better money decisions, hopefully, than we did. So it's a really important question to ask yourself, ask your loved ones, ask your family member. Ask your whānau members, what does their financial legacy, or what would you like it to look like? Kia ora. Were there any last comments before we move on to the next one?
There's some really cool comments actually, all around the same themes about, you know, us being able to have enough for today, but to be able to, you know, develop a financial sustainability so that we also have enough for our mokopuna and growing our wealth as whānau. It's really awesome comments from your e te whānau. Tēnā koutou.
Oh, kia ora koutou. That's awesome. All right, so we'll move along to the next part. Oh, did I not share that? Let me catch up, whānau, let me catch up. How are your pūtea and hauora? How are they connected? So when times are tough and we are preoccupied with money worries, we're more likely to be more impulsive and given to temptations, muddle through our thinking and get even deeper into our money maya. The heavier the concerns, the heavier the load. One study showed that increased money concerns led to a fall in people's intelligence of 13 to 14 IQ points and lowered their ability to think clearly even more than if they had gone the night without any sleep. See, it's a late night, sorry whānau. Apparently, under financial stress, our ability diminishes because of our tight circumstances. According to our most recent data, 55% of New Zealanders are feeling financially uncomfortable. 23% of us are losing sleep over their finances or our finances. 32% of us are worried about the amount of debt that we are in, and 10% of us are distracted by money at work. So take that stress and feeling of scarcity away, however, and our headspace suddenly frees up and we have the mental bandwidth once again to think clearly. So we're going to do a poll now. What happens when money weighs on your mind? I'm going to pop a poll up. Money worries have a significant impact on my well-being. So simple poll we're going to pop up right now. And you're going to ask the question, does it have an impact on you or not? Some of us a lot of the time, some of us some of the time. So it seems like from our poll that some of us are really worried about finances and worried about money. Some of us are not really, so we're sitting quite comfortably, which is great. Hopefully we can learn some things from you as well. But a lot of us have money worries, and that can lead to a lot of different impacts. We hope, what I mean, we, the team here at Sorted, want to provide you some tools to lessen that worry, to provide you some confidence, and also point you in the right direction in case you do need extra help outside of our tools. So kia ora whānau, thank you for that. So we've had 73% of us some of the time, 18% of us a lot of the time, and 9% of us not really. Okay, so wherever you're at on your financial journey, savings is the key to it all. Oh, sorry, I meant to share the poll results, but I haven't been. Aroha. So wherever you are financially, savings is the key to it all. To sort your money, none of it is really possible unless you can save some of the money you have coming in. For instance, a steady savings habit lets you build an emergency fund, invest in KiwiSaver, shed your debt, pay for insurance, and eventually even buy your home. I want you to pop into the chat box, what are some of the ways that you can grow your pūtea? Some of those things we might already be familiar with, i.e. a savings account, an investing KiwiSaver, earning more. So let's have a look at this, and Marina's going to take some comments and share them with the rest of us. So what are some ways that you can grow your pūtea?
They might be ways that you've heard of, or they might be some something that you are already doing. If you've got from Monique here, term deposits and investments, absolutely. Another great one is increasing what we contribute to our KiwiSaver. getting rid of bad habits, which is easier said than done, isn't it? We can get ourselves into on the wheel of just doing things round and round. We've got side hustles, putting money into savings, and also a comment here from Ruby, would love to know more about term deposits and investments. Absolutely an awesome way to be able to grow our pūtea. Also, we've got regular saving plans and saving for goals, and again, contributing to our Kiwi savers, small businesses, a second, a third, a fourth income.
Wow.
Absolutely. One income is, as we probably know, not enough. And also paying off debt, paying our debt down. Some really awesome, comments there, whānau.
Great ideas. I think I really do truly believe, and I might be being biased, but I think as Māori, we are very, very entrepreneurial. There's always a way for us to know how to grow more money, even if it's more about saving money, so growing our own food or sharing our resources with each other. A lot of us inherently know how to grow our pūtea. Really, really great comments there. Some of the things that we can think about when we start to grow up money is why we're growing that money. The big why question is really important for you to understand. Why do you need more money? And that comes into goals, which we'll be talking about shortly. So thank you for that. Appreciate all those comments coming through. They're wonderful. Okay, the next thing we're going to talk about is unexpected emergency costs. As all of us know, unexpected emergency costs can be a real pain in the backside. Emergencies can be a real barrier that can cancel out any savings progress fast. I'm going to go to the next slide and share with you a really cool video.
Plan to build and maintain your first layer of protection. You might blow a tire, need an emergency visit to the doctor, or a funeral. It's really hard to plan for the unknown. What we don't know is what it will be, but what we do know is that there's always something. Your safety net is yours, not the bank's. There's no paperwork or appointments. It's there for those emergencies not accounted for in your weekly budget. So get it done. Plan to build.
So let's have a little bit of a stop here and think about some of the ways. What are some of the barriers that you've faced towards having an emergency savings? So some of us might have already tried at saving, putting some money away. It could be just saving for those unexpected emergencies around your car. You know, always those costs around replacing tires in your car can really blow out our budget. So what are some of the barriers that you've had, that you've come across, that can really, really get in the way of you achieving your goals? Let's write those in the comments and have a look. Car repairs, yep. Dental costs. Just those two things alone can really blow out our budget and really, really not disalign us, but really take us off track when we're trying to save for a particular goal. Lot of dentists, fines, absolutely. Pet bills, yes, if you've got a pet, it's extremely expensive to own a pet these days, and they can cost astronomical fees, but no less they're an important member of our family. Not enough income and bad habits, absolutely. Breaking bad habits is, I think, a really important aspect for us to consider when we're starting to think about our own financial attitudes and habits and beliefs. We're going to be talking about a money personality shortly, so we can have a look at some of those things and see, are we getting in the way of our own progress, i.e. the habits we have, the beliefs we have, and the things that we do. Are we the reason why we're not achieving all our savings goals? Great, really cool comments there. So for emergency savings, at Sorted, we like to, it's the ideal, I guess, is the best way to describe this. And keeping in mind that not everybody is at this level to have this type of emergency savings yet. But ideally, we'd like you to save $1,000 as soon as you can. Sometimes that $1,000 doesn't necessarily mean you having to put money away each week. It could be just you looking at the things that you have already that you could sell. You could grow your own food or sell it, or you could swap things. But ideally, we would love for everybody to have at least $1,000 in their account as soon as they can. The next step you want to move on to once you reach that is getting 3 months of expenses when you can. So the ideal is $1,000 as soon as you can and 3 months of expenses as soon when you can. See some comments, do we? Yeah, just a nice one from Erin. The cost of power is going up means having to try and spread your money further. Definitely. And all those things will have an impact on your ability to put money away for emergency savings. So it's about understanding where you are, what's your situation. The great thing about Sorted, we've got some really great tools. We actually, one of the very first screens you get on when you get onto the Voice Sorted website, if you don't know where to start, it says start here. And we've got a lot of ways to help you get to these places about thinking about emergency savings. Before that, it's really important for you to know what your budget's like. How much money do you actually have coming in extra that you can put away towards emergency savings? But ideally, to help us avoid those unexpected emergencies, $1,000, start with 20, start with 50, get to 100, and sooner or later, you're going to get to 1,000. One thing about saving for emergency events, unexpected events as well, is once you do start saving for that, you start to develop really good habits. So what are other ways you can protect yourself from unexpected events? So protecting yourself from unexpected events is all about planning for the unexpected. Besides having an emergency fund, you can also protect yourself by having insurance, which provides financial support in case of accidents, health issues, or property damage. For example, if you have home insurance, it can help cover the cost of repairs to your house if it is damaged in a natural disaster, ensuring you don't have to bear the full financial burden yourself. This way, you're better prepared for the unexpected, minimizing the impact on your financial well-being. So pop into the chat. What are some other ways that you can protect yourself from unexpected events? And we'll go and have a look at some of these comments. Build the emergency savings into your budget as a need to save. Insurance, fantastic, Monique, that's a great one. What are some other ways that you can think of that you'll be able to protect yourself from unexpected events? Funeral cover. Teresa's got a really good question in here, and I think it's quite relevant, and I'll answer it here, although, I particularly don't want to answer too many questions, but I think this is a really relevant one. If people don't have enough money to save, how are they supposed to save for insurance? I think everything we talk about in Sorted is a step-by-step process. So you just got to start where you are, wherever you are, just start there. If it's just understanding what income coming in and what goes out and what's left over for these things, and that's all you need to know. If you get to the stage where you can afford insurance, then that's a natural step, but we're certainly not encouraging people to take out insurance if they don't have the money to do that. All of these things have to be done in a particular way, step by step. And the team here at Sorted, that's where we're all about, starting where you're at. And we just want to encourage everybody to reach out, and hopefully we can have the tools. We've got the tools to help you do that. Yep, rainy day savings is a really good one. Cost of living, need to prioritize emergency funds, understanding, learning how to make your pūtea work for you. Oh, that's a really great one. It's one of my favorite sayings, make your money work for you, not you work for your money. And that's all about making sure that you're prepared just for yourself. You're paying yourself, and making sure that there is something in your unexpected events pūtea fund. One of the things that I do personally is, after learning the hard way, is I created a little bit of a kōrero account. As we get to the money personality, one of the personalities that I'm very I know I am as a giver. And sometimes giving will also leave myself unprotected for unexpected events. So now I put aside a little kōrero account just so I know if I do need to give, that's where it comes from. It's not jeopardizing any of my emergency funds or anything else that I need to pay, i.e. my rent, my food, anything else. So that's the way that I help to keep myself protected by doing a kōrero account. But I didn't necessarily have the money to start from day one. It just grew as I started introducing each new thing day by day. So, kia ora koutou. Great comments. Let's get there. Got a little video here with our beautiful Marina. I'm just going to play it. Insurance.
Insurance is a way of protecting ourselves and our families from losing too much money if something unexpected happens to our health or our ability to work or the things we own. It's the kind of thing that's easy to buy when we don't need it, but impossible to get after the unexpected happens. Buying insurance ahead of time can help you repair or replace your home contents or car if they get damaged or stolen. It can protect us if damage to other people's property is our fault. It can replace our income if we become too ill to work. It could provide money for our families or help pay off the mortgage if we die unexpectedly. It can pay for medical and recovery costs if we get sick. Throughout this section, we'll look at how to figure out what cover is right for you.
We have a lot of information and tools and guides on our sorted website that can help you decide what is the best type of insurance for you, and also help you understand if you are insured, are you getting the best covered, and sometimes are you overinsured, which happens quite a bit. All right. The next part we're going to talk about is making every dollar count. So making every dollar count means using your money wisely and efficiently, ensuring that every dollar you spend or save contributes meaningfully to your financial goals and overall well-being. A good way to make your money count is by having a really good understanding of how much money you have coming in each week and where it is going. A great way to do this is by having a budget, and then knowing how much you can spend on the things you need and want. I also personally like to use the phrase, give every dollar a job. That essentially means making your money work for you and taking a good note of every single hard-earned dollar that you earn and putting it to good use, whether it be in a gross savings account, paying bills or groceries, and then having some left over for fun. Making every dollar count means you are in control where it goes, rather than wondering, where did all my money go this week? Setting up a system that will help you have money and have better control of your money. But first, we're going to go and have a look at money personalities. So before we even think about setting up our system, let's talk about money personalities. Understanding your money personality is an important step to take before setting your goals and the systems up that are required to achieve them. So how do you find out about your money personalities? So on our sorted.org.nz website, we have the money personality quiz. You can jump on there, you'll find the tool, money personality, go through and answer a number of questions, and it'll help you decide or decipher what kind of money personality that you are. So a few different questions there, and it'll just go through, and at the end it'll tell you what you are. For this particular one, this is the contemporary. Gives you some really good hints about what you can do with that personality, what some of the things and the tips and tricks that you can help to really maximize that personality, particularly if there's some flaws in that personality. So it can help you overcome those. So do this with your whānau. Understanding your different money personalities might go a long way to understanding why we do what we do with our money. Erin's kindly put the website in our chat box, so if you want to go and have a look at there. We've also got another different type of money personality tool, and this is quite a simple one, and we'll use this for tonight because it's quite nice to have a bit of fun with this as well. So this personality tool was designed by Diane McCurdy, and it basically shows us 4 different types of money personalities. So the first one is our saver, kaiako pūtea. Our saver enjoys the security that saving brings, is a natural bargain hunter, buys when necessary, conservative by nature, and is less comfortable with risk and debt. The second one is our spender. Our spender wants to live well now. This is the today. This is the person that wants to live in the now and live in today. Will likely like to have the latest gadgets and models, content with spending money. Very happy spending money is our spender. Comfortable with debt, sees luxury purposes as sometimes a status symbol. The next personality we have is our giver. Now, like I said, this is clearly me. I like, this personality is a giver and a caretaker, generous to whānau, friends and community, donates regularly and avoids long-term debt. And lastly, our investor. Naturally innovative, constantly searching for new ways to make money, focuses on building personal wealth and comfortable with higher risk. All right, so saver, spender, giver, investor. So which one of these money personalities do you think you align with the most? So you might be a couple, but there'll be one that will be a standout. So we're going to pop the poll up now. And you're going to see, we're going to see how many of us are honest enough to answer this. Remember, these are anonymous as well. So we've got a few savers in the room. We've got some givers. We've got some spenders. And we've got a couple of builders. It's actually quite even. Quite even. Great. As you can see, we've got pretty much saver and builder is equal. We've got our giver 27% and we've got our spenders at 36%. So it's really cool for us to understand what type of personality we are, because when we start to understand this is what we are, it also might be helpful for us to understand how did we achieve this personality? Did we learn it? Was it a learned behavior from one of our parents or someone we saw? Is it something none of our parents have this personality? It's just something that we grew up becoming. So it's really important to understand these personalities and start to think, is my money personality getting in the way of me achieving my goals? I certainly know for me as a giver, giving away too much doesn't necessarily leave enough for me and my whānau. So knowing that and setting up some contingency, i.e. my koha fund, allows me to still give, because that's my natural instinct is to give. But now I can give safely without having to affect my whānau. Ka pai koutou. The next part we're going to get into is, goals. Why do we need to set financial goals? So a goal, a financial goal, as we've talked about already, a lot of us will have a different financial goal for different reasons. It might be an emergency fund. For some of us, it might be saving up for our children's education. It might be a holiday, or it even might be a big goal like saving for our first home. So whatever your financial goal is, it's really important that we understand why do we need to set financial goals. So share in the chat what you think you need to do to set your financial goals. So what do we need to do to set financial goals? What are the things that you've done, if you have set a financial goal and been successful at it, that you've done to help you achieve that goal? Really keen to hear your thoughts in the chat function. As we start to think about some of those financial goals, we're going to go ahead and look at the system for helping you set really good goals. Many of you have probably already heard of this system, the SMARTer. So we're going to go through these one by one, setting financial goals. So first off, we're going to make sure that our goal, whatever it is specific. Be really clear and specific so your goals are easier to achieve. So write down why you've got this goal. If there's a goal to save for your first home, be really specific. Where do you want that home to be? How much do you want that deposit to be? How much do you want the home to be worth? what location would you like that home to be in? The more detail you can give your goal, the better, the more likely you are to look for ways to achieve it. The next step in our SMART acronym is measurable. So measurable means that the goals can be tracked, allowing you to see your progress. So whether that's checking in with your goal, making sure you can see it grow in your account, but also make sure that you can regularly see, like if you've set this goal, I want to save a deposit of 30,000 for my first home in the next 3 years. Be really cool that you're going to check in. I'm going to check in every 6 months. And once I pay off debt, I'm going to add to that financial goal. So making sure that you can measure it. The next step is actionable. So are you able to take action to achieve that goal? Put an action in place. What are the things that you need to do? And I know I'm choosing the first home because that is quite a big goal. And a lot of us have probably used a similar process to actually achieve by getting into our first home, but actually making actionable. What are the things that you need to do? You might need to find out your credit score. You might need to find out whether you make enough money, whether you're actually affordable, that you actually have the right setup to actually be able to afford that home. So making sure that there are actionable goals in your SMART goal process is really important. The next one is the realistic, little bit similar to what I just talked about, making sure that it's something that we are likely to achieve. So making sure that it is within your aim, or it is within your grasp to achieve that goal, because nothing worse than setting ourselves up to fail. So looking for yourself, like, is this a realistic goal? I may not say, for instance, I may not be able to afford in central Auckland, but I might be able to buy something further afield if I was looking for my first home. The next one is time bound. Make sure you include a finish date and a time review. So make sure there's a time. You want this to go, I want this to be done by this date on this time. The E, if you've been familiar with the SMART goal before, this ER might be quite new to you, but this is the environment. Consider how your community and relationship will be affected. So this is a really important part of you choosing your environment. So if it's a home goal, moving into a completely new neighborhood, how will that affect the way that you get around and communicate with your family members? Are you moving too far away from your family? Will that have an impact on your goal down the line some way? And then the last one is review, or reward yourself. Give yourself a reward for completing a goal. So we're going to go through a couple of steps to actually help us achieve this money system, or this setting financial goals. So the first one is to set your goals. So we want you to think about one small step at a time. Think of the rungs of a ladder as close, not far apart, so you can climb it. Wherever your goal is, we want you to be able to take it one step up at a time. So we don't necessarily want you to rush up to the top and be there as soon as you possibly can. Just take it one step at a time. Another really helpful tool that we've got on our website is the goal planner. So the goal planner can help you identify goals and set up the actions you need to take to complete them. You can monitor your progress, adjust your expectations, and share it with others. This slide was going really fastly, but it's just that showing you what that tool looks like and some of the questions that you can put, or processes that you can put in to help you identify the actions you need to take, when you'll take them, and also how you're tracking. As you can see, you can move this and adjustable and make this personal to you. So really another great tool that we've got on our website to help you achieve your goal. Step 2, another great way to help us achieve our goals is to track your money. So it's really tricky to remember what you spend your money on every day. Tracking spending is important as it shows you where your money is really going. You'll be able to spot spending leaks and places where you might not want your money to flow. You can then use this information to help you create and review your spending plan, aka your budget. So tracking your money, whatever way, whatever tool you've got, you could be taking a notebook with you. It might be an app that you have, or it could be, I remember a few years ago, I had a couple that came to a class, and they said that they requested each other to text each other what they'd spent money in. So they had to be really transparent because they had a shared bank account. So they had to make that text like, oh, I've just gone to lunch and bought a $30 sushi. So sometimes, but the act of actually sending that text made them think about whether they really wanted to spend that money. So tracking can also be I guess a deterrent for us to like, do I really need it? Or ask ourselves, is this a need or a want? So making sure that you track your money is really, really important as well. Step 3 is make that budget. So use those numbers. We've got a fantastic tool on our sorted website, our budgeting tool under tools. You can go and set that up and personalize it. The great thing about our tools on the sorted website is that we don't see it. This is set up personally for you. No one else gets to see it. We don't jump in and have a sneaky look at what you're earning or what you're spending your things on. This is completely confidential to you once you set your account up. So go in there, set your budget up, and use it for whatever you want to, and use it for what will be helpful for you. So lots of times we try to save after taking care of our bills, our essentials, our non-essentials, and the unexpected expenses that pop up, only to find that there's not much left over to put away. But sure, we may have managed to pay for everything, but haven't got much to show it and much to show for it in the long run. So making sure that you understand your budget in the first instance is really important while you're trying to set goals. Because once you have an understanding, like, so for instance, I might do my budget and go, okay, it looks like I've got $200 left over after all my expenses. I've got a little bit of fund money. I've got everything else taken care of, and I've got $200. What am I going to do with that money? How am I going to use that to achieve the goals that I've set for myself? And that goes back to that concept of giving every dollar a job. So I've set that budget up. I've given every dollar a job within that budget, but I still have these $200 that I have to give a job. So I might send some off to emergency savings because I need to build that up a little bit more. I might send some of it off to, saving for the overseas holiday that I want to take next year, or doing some renovations at home, or whatever that goal is. I want to make sure that leftover $200, I'm going to give it a job, make sure it's working for me. I'm not necessarily always working for it. I can see a couple of to recognize all things. So paying rent, mortgage, putting car on the table are financial goals, as well as the big stuff like homes, holiday, retirement. It's really important to write them down to be specific. Absolutely, Carolyn, that's a really great tip. All of those things are really financial goals. Anything that you want to achieve with your money is a goal. So writing those things down and having a really good understanding of them and being really specific. And if you've got a family member, or you're sharing your budget with your loved one, with your partner, it's really, really cool if they can get on board and you can have these conversations with them as well. That makes it really, really useful.
Donna, we also have a question in the Q&A you might want to answer. What if your goals and your partner's goals are different?
Yeah, I thank you for bringing that up, because that is a really, really, really important one. I don't know how many of us probably are familiar with, we're in the waka rowing it ourselves, and sometimes we're the only ones rowing that waka. I think it's about us, the more confidence we have in being able to share what we're doing and being able to really articulate why you're doing these things. You're not necessarily going to win your partner over if they haven't jumped on board. So the more that you can share with what you're doing, why you're doing it, particularly if that financial goal is something like, hey, I'd really like us to move because of this reason, and give really good reasons. If your partner is really understanding, wants to know that, and you've like, I've kind of trying to find us a way to achieve that, then hopefully they jump on board. But sometimes it can be a really hard struggle because they're not quite ready. And there's lots of instances where we've got one partner doing everything they need to do. And this really does come down to the money personality. Make sure if you are in a relationship, get your partner to do the money personality as well, and get them to see for themselves, see in themselves, look, maybe that's the way that I've been spending our money. Is there a better way for me to do things that can be helpful? So we certainly don't want to create any arguments in the whānau, in the whare with budgeting and goals. But I think it's about, that whakatauki that we have. The more we empower ourselves, and it will start to show, it will start to show. I'm a classic example of this. My husband was not on board when I first started learning about these things. But the more he could see that the goals that I was setting for myself and started to achieve, obviously the big goals I needed him, he could see that there was some success, and he also had a really good understanding of the big why, even though he didn't actually think it was possible at that time. That was probably the biggest thing. He was so scared. He was so scared of taking big risks that he just couldn't see the possibility. So one step at a time, whānau, have those conversations, build up your own confidence and knowledge, and hopefully our partners jump on board and help you ride that waka along with you. Yeah, Caroline, it really is a change of mindset. I absolutely 100% agree with that. And not everybody will have that mindset change at the same time. Sometimes that will come along, and we just have to know that the journey we're on is the right journey for us and our kids, and hopefully they'll jump on and get there. And yeah. Okay, so moving along, we've talked about budget. Let's go and talk about the last step, is setting the system up. Okay, so setting our system up. So I briefly talked about this earlier, paying yourself first. Okay, so I'm going to show you a video shortly about what that actually means. So paying yourself first is actually not just you, oh, cool, I'm going to put some money and I'm going to go and spend it on what I want before I pay all the bills. That's not what we mean here. So if you see this diagram on the slide in front of you, so you have your income, paying yourself first, it's savings, day-to-day expenses, and money put aside to pay bills. Let's watch this short video to help us explain what does pay yourself mean.
If you really want savings, then pay yourself first. To do this, make a separate savings or investment account and set up an automatic payment as soon as your pay comes in. If you and your partner or whānau are saving together, you can also make it a joint account. That way you can be sure you're actually getting paid and keeping some of your money. Chances are that if we don't prioritize it and we pay our bills and do our weekly spending and then some unexpected spending and a few treats, there won't be anything left over to save. It's a good idea to define why you're saving to make it meaningful. Set some goals that reinforce what you want to have, what you want to do, what you want to be in the future, and then pull yourself towards it by paying yourself first. You deserve to keep some of your money and have your money flowing towards your goals. So how much should you pay yourself? Well, if your debts are under control, then make it count. Be generous to yourself and pay yourself enough to move towards your goals, but not so much that you have to borrow money at high interest rates or miss any debt repayments. Start with a small amount and build the habit of making payments consistently for a couple of months in a row, and then see if you can increase it over time. Check out the sorted budgeting tool. It'll help you work out how much you can save towards your goals. You can even set up separate bank accounts for your different goals. Have one for the house deposit, one for the whānau holiday, one for Christmas presents, maybe even one for the wedding. And then you can confidently sit back and watch your savings grow. So pay yourself first to make savings a priority for you and your whānau.
So yeah, paying yourself first. I'd really like to hear from some of you if in the chat box, if anyone's actually tried that, paying yourself first, and what you've discovered as you've done that. Has there any changes that you've noticed in the way that you think about money or you deal with money when you've started to incorporate that concept of paying yourself first? So pop that into the comment, and as we go along, we'll have a look at this. So as you can see, we're on the screen now of the Sorted Budget Planner. So this is another really great tool that we have on our Sorted website. This helps us understand where our money's going, map it out where you want to spend it, and it also gives us clearly an indication of what parts of our budget, where they're going. So are we spending more money on our expenses, or the word is like your expenses, your variable expenses. Those are the things that move up and down, and also think like your needs and wants. So it's a really great tool to use. As you can see, you can have different types of budgets as well. You can load different budgets if you're trying to think about making a change within your goal. So if you're trying to set a goal and want to put that into action, but also leave one budget to kind of compare against, great thing to use as a budget planner. So again, another encouragement, go onto the website, have a real tutu around, make these tools work for you, because they're a really great source of helping you be educated in your own money journey. The next step is make it automatic. So when we get to this stage, we are talking about paying yourself first is easier when it's automatic. So savings out of sight, out of mind. So it works best when it's a regular habit, and there's no better way to make sure saving happens than setting up to be automatic. It takes all of 10 minutes to schedule an automatic payment in your online banking for each time your pay rolls in. It's also important to have your savings in a separate account, possibly one that you don't see too regularly, maybe even a different bank if it's a bigger goal, so that it's out of sight, out of mind. So make it automatic, set it up, and a lot of us will have a lot of different ways that we can do automatic. We might have a bills account, we might have our goals sitting in another account that we can't see, or putting into maybe a savings account that has a little bit more interest, but we can't access as much because we'll lose the benefits of having that account. So whatever that is, make it automatic, and that will help you set those things up to help you achieve your goal faster. And our last step is to review and revise. So it takes time for your money system to really get established. Those automatic payments might be small, and it can take a few months to build up, but trust the process and the mahi you have already done to get this far. And if it's really not clicking, go back to step one and review your goals. Or you can, alternatively, you can talk to a financial mentor to bounce your ideas together. Money Talk is another really great site that will help people that want to understand their money. It's a free site, it's a free website or free service. It's available to all New Zealanders, and you can go on there and ask some questions from normally a registered financial advisor, but someone that can help you point you in the right direction if you do get stuck. And you'll find it the sort of website, just maybe not answering all the questions that you need. Cool. All right, so we're going to stop and have a little bit of a chat now. What are some of the other things you can do to boost or start your savings? So what are some of the other ways that other things you can do to boost or start your savings? So I want you to write in the chat, what are some of the things that you've done to help you boost or start your savings? Some of us could have downgraded our car. You might have a garage sale. You might get start a side hustle. What are some of the things that you might have done to actually start or boost your savings? Put them in the chat and we'll have a little look at what you've come up with. Yeah, I love it, Darren. Sell stuff you don't use on Marketplace or Trade Me. Excellent. Pay down debt to free up money. Perfect. Pay rises. Excellent way to boost or start your savings. Awesome ideas. A couple of things that we can think about here on this next slide is paying off debt. Sometimes there are those side hustles that we have. They can really, really help. I'll share my husband a few years ago, he works full time and he recently upgraded to a hybrid car, and we really as a family wanted to go to Hawaii together, and so he started Uber Eats. So he'd go out in the evening and do a few hours, and it took a couple of years, but that was enough to boost our savings to get us to Hawaii. So by the time we got to Hawaii, we had enough money for our accommodation, obviously that our family paid for their own, but we had enough money to have a really good holiday because of that side hustle. So sometimes you've got to do what it takes to get the goals that you want to achieve. Doing it together. Some other techniques are the 52-week challenge. Has anyone heard of the 52-week challenge? If you have, I'd love to hear in the comment in the chat what you've done and how it's worked for you. But essentially, the 52-week challenge is saving over the increasingly growing your savings increasingly over the year. So week one, naturally, you're going to save $1. Week two, save $2. Naturally, it will grow. You might have the $5 challenge, the spare coin jar. We got given a date jar a number of years ago, and we always, any change, we pop that into the jar. And if we want to go and enjoy some movies or a date night, that becomes our jar, and we've often got enough there to kind of shout maybe one of the kids to come with us or go and have dinner out that night. So whatever you do, whatever you've done in the past, can be really, really, really cool. Share those ideas in the chat function. And then rounding up your cents at the bank. Let's have a look and see if some of these ideas. The swear jar. Oh, I love it, Monique. The swear jar. So it's a great way. So every time, I'm assuming it's every time you swear, you put money into the swear jar. Great. Excellent. Excellent. Tax refunds or rebates into savings account. Perfect. That's a really good. A lot of us don't necessarily, we see that extra money coming in and we think it's a bonus, but actually giving it a job, giving every dollar a job, put it into your savings account. Like Marina, I like that idea as well. So it's also checking to see if we are the cheapest utility companies. So checking the subscriptions we on. Often, sometimes we forget even the subscriptions that we have. We might be paying for, say, Netflix and things we may not even use anymore. Making sure you look on your bank account, like, do I even use those services or subscriptions, and cancelling them. But definitely looking at the things that we use, cheaper utility, cheaper power, cheaper phone, and making sure we make the best of our savings. Great suggestions, everybody. The next kōrero we're going to have a talk about is compound interest. So compound interest is, with interest, you're either paying for money that you're borrowing or you're getting paid interest for your savings and investments. And when that interest starts earning interest of its own, you're away and compounding up. It's like a jet on a runway. It starts off flat, then it takes off and climbs upwards. I'm going to show you now a video that talks a little bit more about what compound interest is.
Kia ora. Have you ever wondered how compound interest really works? Let's take a look at the story of two friends and their saving and investing journeys. To demonstrate what their journeys will look like, we'll be using M&Ms in place of money to show how compound interest works. Both Anna and Paul are saving and investing for their future for the long term. They remain in the same aggressive fund for their whole investment journey. In this fund of mostly shares, their M&Ms compound at a rate of 5.5%, which takes into account fees, inflation and tax. Anna starts contributing 20 orange M&Ms each year at the age of 18. Paul is not interested in saving for his retirement yet. He has other plans to use his M&Ms and does not invest any. Over the first year, Anna's 20 M&Ms earns her 1 blue M&M in interest. The next year, Anna keeps contributing 20 orange M&Ms to her fund, but now she is starting to earn interest on her interest, the blue M&Ms. This is what compound interest is, interest earning its own interest. Paul continues to use his M&Ms in other ways. Anna is starting to see the benefits of starting early with saving and investing. Te reo pai, Anna. Anna continues to invest until she's 41. She has now gained 523 blue M&Ms in compound interest after putting in 480 orange M&Ms over the past 24 years. She decides to stop contributing and let compound interest continue to do the work for her. Paul starts contributing 20 orange M&Ms each year. Has he started early enough? At the age 43, Paul and Anna are both receiving compound interest. Paul continues contributing as Anna sits back and watches her M&Ms grow. Paul is not too happy with his pool of M&Ms as he compares it to Anna's. Anna looks over to see Paul's jar and feels a bit bad for him that he didn't have the knowledge to start investing early. By age 65, Paul contributed 480 orange M&Ms over 24 years, the exact same amount that Anna contributed earlier. Yet Paul earned 523 blue M&Ms in compound interest, and Anna earned a whopping 3,146 blue M&Ms in compound interest. That's a big difference. Paul and Anna contributed the exact number of orange M&Ms, yet over time, Anna's M&Ms kept rising. This is the beauty of time when it comes to compound interest. Well, there you have it. The secret to compound interest is time. So if you can, why not think about saving and investing early and make the most of compound interest? It's not too late to start now. Kia ora.
Great little video about compounding interest. Really shows us how compounding interest can really help boost our money and grow it fast. The next kōrero we're going to have a talk about is KiwiSaver, another way that we can save our money and boost our savings, particularly for our future retirement. So KiwiSaver, what do we know about KiwiSaver? So KiwiSaver is a voluntary retirement savings scheme in New Zealand where contributions from our income, our employer, and the government help you save for the future. So what are some key things to know about KiwiSaver? So new employees are automatically enrolled. So every time a new employee starts a job, you're automatically enrolled between the ages of 18 and 64. But it is a voluntary enrollment. You can actually opt out. The action of opting out can be done with your employer, but we hope that everyone stays in there, hence the automatic enrollment. So anyone under the age of 65 can voluntarily join. KiwiSaver contributions are voluntary. And they are at the moment employee contributions. You can choose between 3, 4, 6, 8 and 10% of your before tax pay. Your employer contributions, they must contribute at least 3% of your before tax pay, and the government contributions, if you at least contribute at least $1,042.86 per year, the government will top that up to $521.43 annually. So free money essentially. And you must do that between the periods of 1st of July to 30th of June. So some other things that are really useful to know about KiwiSaver is can be used for your first home. However, it's also important to note that not all KiwiSaver funds will allow it. So you may be able to withdraw most of the savings you buy for your first home, but you have to leave $1,000 behind. To do so, to qualify for your KiwiSaver to be used as your first home, you have to have been a member for at least 3 years and leave $1,000 in your account. So KiwiSaver is a really great way for not only for us to be ready and prepared for retirement, it can be a really good boost for those who are contemplating buying their first home. Great. Do we have some questions in the Q&A? About KiwiSaver? Is there any questions about KiwiSaver?
Sorry, here we do. Well, we have a couple of questions. They're more around investing, and I guess, you know, KiwiSaver, you could say is a form of investing. This question is, what is the first step in investing?
Well, I'm going to use the sort of website again, is actually understanding what kind of investor profile you are. There's a lot, and actually, well, this next slide is a really great slide to actually discover that. Right. So a lot of us will have an investor profile. So it's our comfort level when it comes to risk. Before you start investing, it's really important for you to know, are you a really risky person? Because that's really going to affect the way that you invest. So most of us will fall into one of these 5 categories. And fortunately, this also relates to KiwiSaver as well. So the defensive is the least riskiest, okay? So that's someone who's really not sure about whether they want to risk a lot of their money or their growth, and they also know that a defensive is not necessarily going to give you a lot of growth. It's going to keep your money locked in really, really safe investments. Conservative is a little bit more riskier. As you can see, we've got defensive, conservative, balanced, growth, and aggressive. The further we get to the right, the aggressive, that really tells someone that they are well informed about the decisions and the risks that they are taking for the investment. So to answer that question, the first point I'm going to tell you to go to is go to the sort of website, do the sort of profile and understand what kind of investor you are, and then start to make some decisions. They've got some really good guides and tools about what, if you are defensive, what kind of investments you might be interested in investing in if you are that type of investor. Many of you would already know, if you are a KiwiSaver member, that you will be in one of these programs. So depending on these programs will be how your money grows. If you are a defensive, you might be in really, really safe investments. And we're not going to talk about asset classes, but there's typically 4 different types of asset classes. And we won't talk too much about them, but essentially, if you're defensive, you're going to put your things in some of the less risky investments like cash. Cash and bonds are of the less risky of the investment types. The more aggressive in growth are our property and shares. So once you're investing in shares, that's when you see your money. You might have some huge growth, but also you might be actually see some huge dips as well. So probably a lot of us experienced that if we're in COVID. Some of us saw some huge dips with our KiwiSaver, and actually a lot of us got quite nervous. But hopefully a lot of us stayed the course, and we saw our money come back up. So yeah, it's really important to know what kind of investor you are before you start investing, because then you're not going to be really, really, really upset if you see your money growing. If you're an aggressive and you start making aggressive decisions, you're going to see your money decline or dip really quickly. That's not going to sit comfortably with you, where you might need to make defensive decisions. So this is what KiwiSaver is. Is there any other questions we can answer, hopefully?
Yeah, there is, and I guess it relates really well too, because we the video that we shared just before around compound interest all relates to how we view KiwiSaver and investments. And so the question is, can we ask our bank to help us set up an account for compound interest, or what would be some suggestions to help our money grow quicker?
So the bank does have a couple of compound interest bearing accounts, and that's your term deposits. So so many of you are probably familiar with the term deposit. It's that account that you might say, look, I've got $1,000, I'm going to put that into a term deposit, but I can't touch it for a certain amount of time. And if I leave it there, the bank's going to reward me with giving maybe 3% on top of that. So I'm going to say, all right, for 1 year, I'm going to leave that money in that account. The bank's going to use it because they use that term deposit for their own means. And they say, great, can you let us borrow it for a year? Leave it in the term deposit. And after that year, or after that time period that you've promised to leave it in there, we're going to give you some interest. And that money there is compound interest as well. We also see compound interest in our KiwiSaver. So it's a different type of compound. It's an interest-bearing compound interest account. So we don't see it in the same way, but it still uses the concept of compound interest to help our money grow. So definitely talk to your bank about those ways that you can grow your money. Have a really good understanding of compound interest and start to look for those accounts. Start seeking for them. What's a really good way that I can grow your money? Even things like your savings accounts that you might even have within your bank accounts now. We already know that some of those perhaps a little bit more restrictive to access, but we see, we might get a little top up of $5 per month. That type of stuff. If we leave that money in there, the next month the bank's going to reward us by giving us interest on top of what we've earned. So we understand the concept of compound interest is the money we earn on top of our principal plus the interest. So we just keep growing. So the more that interest grows, the higher that compound interest grows as well. So definitely encourage you, have a talk to your bank, have a talk to your whānau members that are using compound interest. Get onto the sort of website. We've got some really great information about compound interest on there. Great questions, guys, really good questions. Another cool tool we want to talk about here on our sorted website is the KiwiSaver Fund Finder. Now, the one thing I really like about this tool is a live tool. So if you go on here, you will find your KiwiSaver. Actually, this is not part of the webinar, but one thing, if you are thinking about being more confident about your money and going back to our whakatauki, is asking yourself, do I know who my KiwiSaver provider is? And do I know what fund I'm in, i.e. am I defensive, conservative, balanced? Because those might be the first questions you need to ask yourself. So this KiwiSaver Fund Finder, once you know that is, you can jump in here and actually go, am I in the right setting? And it'll actually tell you, should I be in more of an aggressive? Should I be more balanced? And you are able to tweak those and have a look at it and have a really good tutu around your Kiwi. You can show your whether your fees are really important to you, because the fees actually really add up. A lot of us don't consider that KiwiSaver fund providers actually take fees from us, and some charge higher fees than others. So it's really important to go on here, consider the fees and compare them to other funds, because over the course of your time that you are in your KiwiSaver, you might actually see or understand that a lot of your hard-earned money is actually going to your fund provider for fees. So have a really good understanding of that, empower yourself to know it, and really make informed decisions. And these are why these tools are here, to help you make the decisions about your money. Ka pai. Okay, so again, I think we've already answered some of these questions about the KiwiSaver, but feel free if there's any more in there I can help talk to. Marina's got a really good, the different providers invest in a range of areas and you can select one that resonates with where you want your money invested. Really good point, Marina. There's a lot of they're called ethical providers, which means that you can find the ones that won't invest in things like ammunition or you know, drug, you know, or pharmaceuticals that are harmful. So there's a lot of ethical companies and you get to choose those. You can actually find one that resonates with you. So get really curious about your KiwiSaver. It's a huge asset. It's a huge asset to each of us as New Zealanders, as members of the KiwiSaver. The more we know about it, the more that we can, I guess, optimize it, the better we will be prepared when it comes to not only retirement, but particularly if we're using it for our first home. So get savvy, get sorted, go on the website. No other questions? Kapai. If there are any, please put them into the Q&A and our team will reach out and share them with us. Kapai. So the next screen we're going to go to, I'm going to hand the time over to Kimmy, who's going to talk to us a little bit more about our Te Whāhua Kia Ora Sorted in School resources and program. Kia koe, Kimmy.
Kia ora, tēnā koe Donna. Kia ora everyone. Our program for schools and kura is called Te Whāhua Kia Ora Sorted in Schools. We have two programs, an English medium program and a Māori medium program. The Māori medium program, I think it's important to say, isn't a direct translation of what's there in the English medium. It's developed for kura Māori, for tamariki Māori, by Māori and informed by Māori kaiako. I think that's a really important note to share. This slide shows the homepage for our English medium website, which, like, if you just type sorted in schools into Google, this is what you'll find first. And you can see there that there are a couple links over to our Māori medium pages. Te Whāhua Kia Ora is completely in te reo Māori. It's designed for kura kaupapa Māori and for kura aiwi. And both of the programs are designed for secondary school. So for year 9 through to year 13. And Auntie Erin's just added the link in the chat if you want to go over there and have a look. Te Whāhua Kia Ora is the only fully te reo Māori free financial capability program in the country that aligns with Aho Matua, Te Marautanga o Aotearoa and the national curriculum. On our website is where you can access all of our resources. So we have resources for juniors, resources for seniors, so that includes NCEA resources, both achievement standards and unit standards, and where you can contact me for PLD. So once again, all of our resources are free and the PLD is free as well. All you need to do is go to the website. You'll see at the top of the page where it says Wāhi Rehita is where you can register. If you register, then you will have access to all of the teaching documents that you need, and it's the best way to keep on top of what's new. We update our resources regularly to make sure that they're fit for purpose for our kaiako. On the homepage, you'll see the tiles there. It's only showing 2 here, but you see He Kete Tīmatanga, which covers, it's just like a starter pack. So if you're a kaiako and you've never taught financial capability or literacy in your kura before, and this is something new to your tamariki, this is a really good place to start. Obviously, He Kete Tīmatanga. So we talk about spending, what happens if you get a job, saving and borrowing money. And then we've also got the tax resources there. Achievement standards are right on that front page as well. There's a online interactive called a supermarket shopper, and our Maui resources, which are our junior resources, which are it's less about the dollars and cents and more about understanding who we are and how our ahurea and how being Māori is a form of richness, and that can inform us into how we can into navigating the financial world. Yes, I saw a pātai. If you can use these at home with your whānau, yes, you can. It's all the resources are free to anybody to access. The only thing you won't be able to access is the assessment materials and things like that. You have to be a kaiako to access those. But all of the activities and things like that are available to anybody. Another question in Q&A: do you help schools and their communities, or do you only work with teachers? That's a really good question. Well, in Te Whaihua kia ora, it's important for us to work with the communities as well. Most of the kura, the way that they're run, is informed by their communities, and so it's important for us to work with everybody. We are trialing a program in Kahungunu next month, so if you're in Hawke's Bay, we'll put out a pānui soon, or maybe we can share it here. On the 18th of September, we'll be at Te Arahau, Te Kura Kaupapa Māori o Te Arahau, where we're inviting whānau and kaiako to come and be in a session together, similar to this one. So if you're in Kahungunu, then please come along. Yeah, I think that's everything about Te Whaihua. If you have any pātai, please put them in the Q&A thing, and I'll answer them while we're here.
Kia ora, Kimmy. Thank you for that. Yeah, absolutely.
Can you put my details in as well? Otherwise, I can put them in the chat.
Cool. Kapai. Thank you. So we're nearly there. We're a few minutes away from 7:30, and we want to finish on time. Just had a couple of tips and tricks for teaching financial capability in kura. So a couple of things that we discovered that can be useful, and obviously these are just suggestions, is starting with whakapapa. So using the concept of whakapapa to explain financial history. Just as whakapapa connects us to our ancestors, understanding financial whakapapa helps students to see how past money decisions affect present and future. Having a money personality quiz for a kid might not be a bad idea, but also sharing how some of those things are how we evolved in learning the way that we work with money ourselves. Some other things for whānau engagement: incorporate whānau perspectives into financial discussions. So we want to encourage our tauira to talk to their whānau about how money is used in their own homes and the values that they will guide their financial decisions. We might want to encourage students in activities that involve their whānau. So their whānau, for example, have students create a simple budget for whānau gathering or hui. This I've done in my own whānau. It's been really, really useful for my kids to understand the concept of money, but also just how much things cost. There's often a surprise when they actually discover this is how much money we have to spend, but it needs to go on all these things. Incorporating our Māori values is also really important. We need to have a clear understanding of what manaakitanga means, or kaitiakitanga and whanaungatanga when discussing money. These values can guide our students or our tauira to think about spending, saving and sharing resources in a way that benefits their whānau and their community. Also, we know that cultural analogies are really important. So using Māori analogies, just like we did with our whakatauki, and stories to explain financial concepts. For example, compare saving money to storing kai in the pātaka for the future. This analogy can help students see the value of saving or emergency fund, having an emergency fund. And then obviously the last one could be just marae-based learning. A lot of our tamariki have spent time on the marae. They know how it operates. But if it's possible, learn from those experiences, what it is to run a kitchen, how much it costs. These types of learning makes learning practical and culturally significant for our tamariki, as our tauira see how financial skills are used in their own communities. Pai. So the very last one, just before we close up, is there any, for any of our kaiako in the room, what are some of the tips and tricks that you use for teaching tamariki about money? You may not be a kaiako, you just might be a parent. What are some of the tips and tricks that you use to teach about money for our future generations? So pop those in there. And while you're there, I've got one last kōrero that I want you to think about. This one here is also, what particular knowledge would you like to leave behind and pass on to future generations? Okay, so I've got 2 questions in a row. Any tips and tricks that you've used to teach your children about money? And then if you've got any ideas of what particular knowledge would you like to leave behind and pass on to future generations? So this particular question relates to the financial legacy that we want to leave behind. So so write some comments in there and we'll have a look at some of those comments. Yeah, great. Yes, get them involved whenever you can. Absolutely. Having a piggy bank, that's awesome. Oh, thank you, Ruby. Information is invaluable. Thank you again for empowering our next generation. I think most of us will agree that here tonight, it really is about our future generation and our next generation. The more we can do to empower them, particularly when it comes to pūtea, it's going to be amazing for them and amazing for us. Save for your goals, borrow smartly. I mentioned it before, don't work for your money, make your money work for you. I love that phrase. And when you get that phrase, you really put it into action. Use math concepts they are learning for numeracy for level 1 to 2 to relate to their everyday lives, e.g. what happens when they get a job, and think about the things they may have to pay for when they leave school. Oh gosh, that you're speaking our language, Ruby. That is a fantastic one. A lot of our school leavers are often surprised when they get into the workforce and realize there's this thing called tax. So really important that we can incorporate some of those things. Get them to look at their spending and categorize so that they can see how much they're spending. Education is key. Yes, we agree with that. Banking back in school. Oh my gosh, I'm sure all of us remember what banking back in school, the whole idea of taking that little red and white bank book to school and putting the money in and watching it grow. What a great concept. And if they need to build a credit rating and high purchase, so no interest. So great comments here. Really, really cool. Really appreciated all the feedback we've had in here. You guys have got some really good ideas and obviously have the same ngāko or same whakaaro that we have. It's really empowering our future generations to maybe not only make good money decisions, but make better money decisions than perhaps we got the opportunity to do. So we're on to our very last slide. Any questions? Pop them into our Q&A. We'll try our best to answer them before we close off. We're right on 7:30 now. Pop those into the chat or the Q&A. We'll try and answer those a couple before we wrap up. Just finishing up on the last couple of slides. Pause, get sorted. That's our this is our I'm trying to think of the word motto. This is the cause that we've chosen to do for our Sorted Money Month this year, and this is obviously what we want you to do. Pause, get sorted, take some opportunities when you can to find out a couple of suggestions. Go and find your money personality, your investor profile, have a tutu on the budgeting app. Just get curious, but take the time to do that. Remember, we're here to help. We've got lots of tools online. We've got lots of guides, and they're only a click away. These are a number of tools that we have that you have access to for free. They're not going to sell you anything. We don't have ads on our website, so no one's going to hit you up with, come and subscribe to this. That's not what we're here to do. We just want to empower you to make really good decisions about your own money. And we're here to help. So yeah, tēnei te mihi au kia koutou, mauri ora kia kātou. Congratulations for everyone's efforts today. We wish you well in your next steps. And is there any last questions before we wrap up? Got a couple more questions before we close up for the karakia for tonight. Anyone got any last comments? I think we're going to end up on this one with Ruby. If you do have some cards, I put it in there, but this comment from Ruby I think is a really nice place for us to end tonight. I hope you don't mind, I'm going to read it out, Ruby. If we can each manage to change our money habits, then this will create intergenerational change, and then we can be intergenerational game changers. What a fantastic quote to leave on. I'm so thankful for everyone joining tonight. This is a recorded session, so a lot of our kaiako and people that just couldn't do the webinar after a long day of mahi, kaiako, that's okay, we don't mind. This is going to be recorded and sent out to everybody that was registered. We appreciate your comments, your efforts, your time to come tonight. So yeah, again, just a huge mihi out to you all. So we'll close with a karakia. If there's any other final comments, Erin, Marina?
I say that, there's some mihi here, Donna, for the enthusiasm and the great delivery. So thank you to everybody who joined tonight. Ka nui te mihi atu kia koutou. O tira me tuku hoki te mihi kia koe, Donna, nau tēnei kaupapa I whakarite, I whakahaere. Your wealth of knowledge is such a taonga for all of us, and I'm so pleased that we had the opportunity for you to share that with the whānau tonight. Tēnā roa te koe, e te tuakana.
Oh, kia ora, Erin. And don't forget, we're just a phone call away. You can reach Kimmy, but you can reach any of us. We absolutely want to help. We're very passionate about this kaupapa. Yeah, reach out. We're always going to be here to help. So on that note, we will close with our karakia. Inoi tātou, kia tātou katoa, te atawhai o tō tātou ariki a ihu karaiti, me te aroa o te atua, me te whiwhina tahitanga ki te wairua tapu, ake, ake, amine. O Māori e koutou.